Artistic Gamer 7, and I'm back here with another speed build. So this one is one that I sort of had in mind. I have future plans for this build, so this isn't the last time you're going to see this build. But I wanted the build to start out this way before it goes to the next step that I'm going to have it go into. And basically this is a abandoned house that many say is haunted. Now, the story for this house that I sort of have envisioned is the fact that at one point a loving family of 3 used to live in this home, and due to tragic, mysterious circumstances, all 3 of the family members passed away. No one in the family really wanted the house anymore because it just sort of had this ominous feel to it. And it sort of just sat there forever, and then by the time it was finally put on the market, no one really wanted it because it had this sort of bad feel to it, bad omen. Everyone said that it was haunted. It had become basically infested with creepy crawlies and things like that, and you name it, and everyone was just like, nah, this is not the house for me. So it's sort of just over time has just sat here, slowly gathering dust, falling apart eventually. But it's now sort of became sort of a place where like thrill seekers who maybe want to go try to catch some ghosts or see some ghosts, or teenagers tend to hang out because it's sort of like that. Got the feel of the whole creepy abandoned house. No one wants to go here, so I can go here and do whatever I want. So it is the lot traits that I gave it when I uploaded it on the gallery, which it will be uploaded by the time you see this video. Should have been uploaded right before, unless the gallery has issues, which it has been a little bit recently, but I think they fixed those issues. So hopefully it should be up when you see this video. But I uploaded it as a house. But in terms for my game and the story that I'm sort of going with this house, is it's actually going to be a generic lot to at least start with, so that, you know, maybe you'll see people hanging out here or coming here or and stuff just to chill and hang out, because most people don't really fool with this house unless, you know, you're trying not to be noticed or not to get caught. You know, sneaky teenagers sometimes want to test the limits of what they can do. So that is sort of a big plan of mine for this build. So if you download it from the gallery, it is set as a residential lot, but of course you can easily change that. But the lot traits I gave it was, I think it's called creepy crawlers or something, the one with the spiders, haunted, and also the teen neighborhood thing, so that it's like a teen hangout spot. So I gave it those traits for the story I gave it and for what I have plans for it in my main save, which is the save that has the Evie family and the Forgotten family. So this house actually will be playing a role. I'm not going to go too depth and give too much on it of some of the plans I have for it, but it will be showing up in those series probably. I will let you know that it's more likely going to be the Forgotten series that you'll see this house mostly in versus the other one, but you'll still see it in like the Townie Life series and in the Evie family series probably here occasionally, but you will mainly see it in the Forgotten family. This roof thing that's going on right now with the porch, I literally was like, what do I do? Like, it sat there forever. I had this long porch on the ground because originally I tried having it up there and it just didn't look right. So then I got the idea to have the 2 just circle roofs, and since, you know, they didn't go actually in the house, I made it seem like it halved right before. It goes around a little bit on the side of the house, but I sort of like that. Plus I put like a trim around the middle, so it looks like it just attaches to those roofs. I did put the little square part of the roof that I had on the ground up where those 2, like that corner of that house, just to prevent, like for seasons and stuff like that, to prevent snow falling in that area, because that's right where I go and end up putting the door. I do cut out some pieces of this build that I recorded. One, I didn't want it to be 2 videos because I didn't think that it really needed to be 2 videos. It's detailed, but not detailed in the sense of a lot of the other builds I've been doing. So I didn't want it to be multiple videos, but I did want to get the essence of like the whole build. So I tried to cut it as short as I can, but then I noticed like it wasn't. So I did cut out some parts. I cut out some of the bathrooms. That's usually going to be my typical thing. I think I cut out the attic part, but those all will be featured in the screenshots at the end of this video, so don't have to worry about necessarily not getting to see what they look like. I also cut out some of the parts where I put a lot of the details on the walls, because this build was heavily detailed with putting wall stuff in, because I literally went through and put like cracks and spider webs and what seems like hole punches and places of the wall that's falling off. I tried to make this house look like it is abandoned as possible. I do add, there is some furniture in the house. Some of it I pretended like has been there since the house was left. So I tried to keep with like all the flooring and object things that I did use for the most part. I tried to keep it in the feel of like older furniture. Now, I do use some of that furniture in more of my current builds and up-to-date builds, but a lot of people actually do like getting old furniture and refixing it and reusing it. So, you know, you can just keep that in mind. Like, just because you may use this furniture in newer builds doesn't mean that I'm saying that it shouldn't be. Because I know a lot of people that like using old stuff in their newer houses, so... But yeah, I tried to get as much as, like, flooring and wallpaper wise to either look like it was damaged and dirty, or at least that it was old and outdated to a certain extent. So like the bathrooms heavily have like some more blues and pinks, which I know a lot of old bathrooms tend to have in them, and stuff like that. And a lot of the I will say like the city living and the vampire packs probably came in the most handy for this build, because the vampire pack not only did most of the stuff that came with that pack fit the sort of theme of like an older house, but also because it does have a lot of those hole punches, the scratches and cracks and the things like that. But then also the city living had a lot of those, had like the flooring and the wallpaper and the countertops and stuff like that that looked like they were old and or grungy or not taken care of well. So that helped me a lot. Now this build isn't using any CC. I do have my CC in the game while building this. I do accidentally put, I think, 2 CC items while I'm building it on screen, which I think one was in the attic, so that would have been cut out. But I do go back and take them out before I upload it to the gallery, so the one that is uploaded to the gallery is not going to have any CC. I made a mistake. I thought I made sure that I didn't click any CC items, but I clicked a few. But it's fine. I also used the BB Show Hidden Objects cheat as well on this build. So there was a lot of things that I got from the hidden objects. And I used like fur balls and feathers and things like that all over the place. Because for my build particularly, which, I mean, shouldn't necessarily be world specific because animals are not world specific in real life, but in The Sims, of course, animals do not really freely travel around in all the towns. But this is Brindleton Bay, even though it's on the Lighthouse Island. So I sort of kept that in mind, that maybe, you know, there's going to be some animals more frequently around, and since this is abandoned, animals could probably easily wander in there. So I used some of the, like, scratches that are supposed to be, like, animal scratches, the feathers, the fur balls or whatever, so those are spread out. I went like full on trying to make this look as basically like at one point I tried to have this house look like at one point it was a beautiful, wonderful family home, but it is definitely seen better days. It is running downhill, and it's going downhill fast at this point. So that was sort of the feel that I was going for and trying to go for. On the outside I do put a few live plants, but that's because if you think about it, especially for where I was building it at, I was thinking about, well, you know, they probably at least try to keep somewhat of the outside looking somewhat contained. They may not go too close to it or maybe fool with it too awful much, but they'd probably try to do a little bit more with the outside just for sake of the way it looks, because people are still coming around here to go see the lighthouse and stuff like that. So they did, you know, would be trying to probably keep up, or at least let the wildflowers grow a little bit closer here and make them look pretty and not too out of control. Now the fenced in area, which is the backyard, I didn't put any live flowers back there unless they're growing through the fence. Because, like I said, the story with this house is that it is haunted. Haunted, it has an ominous feel, bad presence. So most people don't really want to fool with the house too much. They don't really want to go in. They don't want to do much. So a lot of people, the people that really would possibly try to be like the groundskeepers or try to take care of the house even though it's not theirs and they maybe want to try to sell it, like the retailers or something, wouldn't really want to go through the house necessarily and actually go to this backyard to actually fix it up. So I did make the backyard look a little bit more worse and like it's getting a little bit more overgrown and has these dead plants because they're just not living, they're not working right, and things like that. So that doesn't have any live plants, but yeah. But anyway, so that's the feel of it. Eventually you'll start seeing towards the end of the video where I actually add like air mattresses in 2 of the bedrooms upstairs because again, I sort of am thinking of it as a way of some people that just want to get away or like these spooky things, or the teenagers are sneaking off and going to the inside this abandoned building just to get away, maybe get away with doing stuff that they're not supposed to do and stuff like that. So imagine like they would bring some things here and there and sort of just leave them. So there is like air mattresses, there is a cooler, there's some of the chairs. I started to put them on the porch and I think I left that in just to state that out so I can remember to say it. I started to put like little fold out chairs on the porch, but then I started thinking like if this was like real life, I was like, wait, if this is real life and you're legit, like, I was mainly thinking about it from a teenager standpoint. I also probably will have quite a few young adults probably sneak off here or go and hang out around here and things like that, but if you're a teenager and you're maybe trying to hide from your parents, or maybe you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing, you wouldn't sit out on the front porch of an abandoned house. So I did decide to take those off of the porch and just leave everything inside. Of course there's windows, so technically they'll be able to see from the windows. I didn't put any curtains up because fabrics and things, particularly curtains, because they are thinner, can tend to deteriorate a lot faster than things like chairs and sheets. Well, not so much sheets, but like bed coverings, like the comforter. Could not think of it. Especially with things like moths and things like that, they go for those thinner fabrics, and curtains tend to be really, really thin, except for a few curtains. There are some curtains that are really thick. But yeah, so I didn't really bother with the curtains because I imagine those would have gone completely. So, and a lot of the wood piles that I put around, I would imagine that maybe it was, of course, furniture wouldn't necessarily just fall apart like that, but that's the closest thing in Sims I can get to look like that, for the furniture falling apart, or maybe the people that are coming in here and just playing around, being silly, joking around, possibly have broke some furniture here and there, so there's just these pieces of wood laying around. Plus the house itself is probably falling apart. You know, it's probably pieces of the ceiling, pieces of the wall laying on the ground too. So that was another thing with it. But anyway, I'm going to stop talking. There's not almost halfway through the build, not completely. There is screenshots at the end, so make sure you stay around for those, because those will show off the build probably 100% the best overall wise. Plus there's also I think I left it in and you probably have already seen it. There is a little thing in the attic, but I include a screenshot with it to show it off a little bit better because I decided that it fit perfect with the haunted feel. Also, before I forget, the thing with the attic, if you do go and download this house, there is no way to necessarily for an actual sim to get in the attic. Because partially, when I think about attics, and most attics that I'm familiar with, they don't have like a big grand staircase going to them. Either the staircase is hidden somehow, or it's more like a fold down staircase or a ladder or something among those routes. And considering we don't have those options in Sims, and I didn't really want to do the hideaway stairway because of the way that it would have been, I just didn't want to do that yet. So if you download this and you want to add a way to get into the attic, just keep that in mind. You'll have to add a staircase because there's no actual way. If they would have had something like spiral staircases, I definitely would have given that as an option, because spiral staircases would have been easier to hide away than the long staircases. Or even if they add other stair options other than an elevator, because an elevator wouldn't make much sense in this house, because this is supposed to be an older house. But, you get what I'm saying. So, just keep that in mind if you do download this house. I do state in this house, like in the description of this house, will it ever be fixed? So, definitely this house can be fixed up, and if you do, definitely, like, send me pictures of how you fix this house up, and maybe you're the person who buys this house and you fix it up. Let me know how you do it, and send pictures to my Twitter and stuff so I can see, because I would be very interested to see how y'all would fix this house up, because it can be fixed, I believe. And I sort of have intentions of maybe fixing it myself in the future eventually, maybe. But, I definitely would like to see how maybe y'all would do it. My Twitter will be down in the description below, so you can send those over there if you do so. But anyway, thank you so much for watching the video. Make sure you continue to the end. I'm going to let music play for the rest of it. It's getting close to actually halfway now. But, anyway, hope you really enjoy the build. My origin ID is ArtisticGamer7. I will also have it down in my description just as a reminder, so that you can go download this or any other builds that I've been doing recently, and I'll see you in the next one.